All right. So today we'll able to see the following topics actually. What it is today also will take more time, like up to 8:30 like that. So right. So today we'll able to see the first one called BPMN. So what is BPMN? This is one of the component, source code component, business process management notation is one component, and small components called B2B. In other words, business events. So this is called B2B means business to business, and a small topic called business events. So these two, then after that, we'll able to see the BAM, business activity monitoring. So if we complete all these, generally all the components which I have completed in the Oracle Source with 11G. So after that, we'll move to the security and high availability in the sense, clustering configuration, troubleshooting, backup and recovery. So upgradation we'll able to see from 11G to 12C. Upgradation, okay? So that part we'll able to see. So this is about that, plan. Right. Once it is coming into the run, just give me 2 minutes, okay? We'll start it. I'm waiting this to come out the source or running into running mode.
Okay. I'm just muting now.
Okay, okay, okay. Right. So server already started. Coming to the running mode. See, the moment you expand the SOA node, so it is going to be displaying the SOA infra, and double click on it. It will open the separate window for the SOA infrastructure, and select the SOA infrastructure. Go to the SOA administration. See that component. Right. Go to here, administration part, and BPMN properties. So we have completed common, BPL, and mediator and workflow properties. And today we'll be able to see that BPMN properties. So click on the BPMN properties. This is what generally see this BPMN, which you can able to get while you are installing if you choose both SOA and as well as BPM suite installations. While creating the domain, if you choose both options, then only it is going to be available in the SOA console. Else, which is not available. So that is very important. You can come to know. Right. So what we need to do in this generally, so what is the business process modeling notation? Then how it is going to be relationship with the BPL and as well as X BPM. How you can able to configure the components and how you can manage and processing the service components in generally. So let's see you can describe about the BPMN generally. What it is BPMN? So generally BPMN and SOA, which are two tools actually. Like SOA, see sometimes generally what will happen, so client may have only which requires the BPM only, business process notation. So what it is going to be doing actually, business process management notation means it is going to be generally fill the gap in between the process models and executing the models. By that generally what will happen, it is going to be optimizing the performance. Example, see, XML what it does, or BPL what it is going to be doing, it is integrate, it is going to be orchestrating or combining the services and connecting to the external system, so that it is going to be doing. But by using the BPM generally what it is going to be doing, so between the management people and between that process model, it is going to be getting some gap. It will fill and speed up the business process, so that will do by the business process notation or business process automation. So automation which is possible by using the BPM only. So which is going to be approach to the business process automation BPM. So what it will do generally, BPM it is going to be fill the gap. It is going to be fill the gap in between the process models and their execution. So and also it is going to be monitors and optimize the performance. And what it is going to be doing, so generally the combination of both actually, the business rules and as well as work managers, we can call it as BPMN only. So in real time, whenever you are working as a BPMN administrator means, so some case you may have actually, so BPL plus human workflow plus business rules. So that is what generally you can call it as BPMN administrator may get all those three components only. So what we will be able to in that actually, enough to understand by the by business users, like how the developers were used by those business users, and they are developed for implementation, and all the part you can understand. And generally this BPL it is providing the mechanism to generate an executable BPL model from the process model. So BPMN it is going to be provides the mechanism to generate an executable BPL model from the process model. So generally, what it is generally, by this generally it is going to be enabling, so both business process and technical implementation very strong actually in the source side. So even BPN also, while you are installing the source, you can select both. Otherwise, you can install only BPMN also. By using this, what we can able to do? Technical implementation very strong by using the BPL, and business process implementation also very strong. And it is, if combine both, how strong it is the tool. That is why SOA suite is very powerful in the market because of this BPMN and SOA approach. And let's we see how the relationship with BPL and BPMN generally. See process modeling. Whenever you want to process the modeling, example, who are going to be, use this process modeling generally, and we are going to be working with this business analyst or technical analyst. Executable process layer generally. Only technical analysts are, developers, and service layer and information layer. So BPN means process layer, which completely related to the management, and BPL means technical analyst in the sense, only technical analysts work here. But whereas in BPM level, process management level, then it has going to work for both actually, right? For processing model, business analyst and as well as the technical analyst. And see how the modeling process using the BPM, and generally, there are some activities which are going on, activity and as well as event, gateway, and point to pull and leans. All those are some activities generally in the BPL, sorry, in the BPM. And so by using those generally, what we can able to do, these are the elements in the BPM process generally. These are the elements in the BPM process. Each one, it contains its own importance. Like if you take that flow objects, so it has going to be define the activities, events, and gateways, and connection objects. Generally, it has going to be connecting the flow object together. And swim lane, generally, it is used to organize and categorize the activities. Artifacts, generally, so specific content to the business process, and modeling, it has going to be, added to that BPMN. So example, developers, they are going to be designed and develop like this. Then see what is the BPM development life cycle. This is what BPM Studio and SOA editor and BAM and EM console and as well as workspace means how it is going to be managing that process management. All these generally which is executed by whom? Which is executed by the SOA process execution engine only. So BPN related, which has executing to the only BPM process for processing the model and simulations, and as well as documentation, and processing implementation and system integration. This is for only processing the model. Who are going to be use this BPM Studio? Business analyst. And see here process information and system integration. Who are going to be working here? Process developer. Then BAM is for monitoring all the dashboards in the service infrastructure. And coming to here, where you can able to monitor all the applications, both BPM and as well as SOA and the EM console. And which are executing by those components generally by using the SOA process execution engine. So that it is going to be processing actually to the workspace. In other words, who are going to be participating. In other words, process participant. So one, first BPM Studio, it has processing. Second, it is going to process the developer, and the sense, next connecting to the next component. Then after that, it is going to be forwarding again to the business SOA engine, and SOA engine, it is going to be executes, and you can monitor everything in the administrator, in the sense in the administration EM console. And for monitoring about entire this business generally, which we can able to configure the BAM in the form of pie charts and as well as graphs and all those, that we'll able to see in the BPM development life cycle generally. Then after that, describe BPM runtime architecture generally, in the sense how it is going to be, product offering. So business architecture generally, what it is going to be doing here in this, and enterprise modeling methodology driven, in the sense, what it will do by these actually process participant apps, in the sense, an example, all these generally which you can able to, process by using this BPM suite. In other words, BPA suite, business process suite, architecture suite. And business driven modeling, the first one, business driven modeling, what it will do, process and analyticals, process analyticals. Because example, business indicators, BAM, BI, by using that generally, which you can able to monitor about the business driven modeling. And BPM Studio generally, which is responsible for designing the, designing the BPM components. Like example, it is going to be integrating human tasks and business rules and BPL 2.0. I already told you, either it may be a dynamic or a static, a part of the SCA service component architecture. You can integrate all three and you can deploy, and based on the SOA servers, and you can manage and administrate. BPM Studio generally, which is used for business, it is used for the business data collaboration and as well as agile development, right? Unified IDE. Most of the cases which is used to process the business model with automation. So instead of doing the manually, by using this BPM Studio, you can automate the business process. And process component generally, this is a web-based console generally. By using this generally, which you can able to customize it and as well as a deployment ready for process. All those where it has going to be monitoring under the EM console, it has going to be monitoring under the EM console monitoring. These are the source generally. This will execute these things actually, and the sense these are the responsibilities. And BPM Studio, in the sense, what is that? It is going to be combining BPL, human workflow, and business rules. So BPL means for what reason it is going to be doing generally? It is going to be integrating, combining all the services into one deployable unit or something like that. One well-defined service it is going to be obtaining by that. And BPMN generally how it is going to be processing the business. Generally, it is going to be automating the business process. That's what generally BPM suite which offers here. Then what is the runtime architecture generally BPM suite? So I already told you for designing and developing which we may have a separate BPM suite. Otherwise developers also they can design as part of the SOA composite application. Individual SOA component, otherwise part of the SOA composite. Then after that which is going to be forwarding to the BPM Studio. So there are two versions which are available regarding the BPM, 1.0 and 2.0. From JDeveloper 11G onwards, we were using the 2.0 only. And go to here workspace and process. Just now we have discussed how the end user is going to be interacted. So by using this generally, and BPL generally is going to be connected to the BPL application for enabling that integrating, and BPM and generally which connect to the BPM component, human workflow, and it is going to be processing these components generally. So one after that is going to be processing here, right? In this way, generally you can able to deploy, or you can able to design and deploy as part of the SCA, so a composite application into the EM console, and you can monitor and administrate it. And how you can able to configure the BPMN process service engine and monitor the BPMN process instances generally. Assume like that this is sample application generally. Developers they were developed again about this application generally due to some purpose. Then now you can able to access that SOA consoles actually, right? One is BPM workspace. It is not required more than BPM. Yesterday we have seen BPM, right? Performing the tasks in the BPM workspace, in the sense how to create the how to create the priority. All those yesterday we have seen. Anyhow, we'll see now also. Then after that, how you can able to configure the BPM service engine properties. So I just go to over there. First, I'll start that, then later I can able to monitor about that. So expand the deploy, click on the deployments. Right, so where it is, BPM Composer. Click on BPM Composer. I am opening the BPM worklist application or something like that, separate console. In that you can able to configure, monitor, and administrate. Right, it will take some time. Then how to configure the properties, this performing the tasks in a BPM workspace. Yesterday we have seen, anyhow we will see again. Then once it is coming to that, once it has going to starts, then how to configure the BPM service engine properties. See, BPL and BPN, which are quite common generally, the properties and all those whatever you are using, the purpose which are going to be different actually. So both are the tools only, both are the SOA tool. So which is used to that, generally SOA which is used to integrating or combining the services, and but BPM generally which is used to processing the model, business models. So let's see what are the properties was there, then how to configuring it, those properties. Then after that how to monitor, and as well as flow of control, then audit trails. So that part we'll able to see. Then after completing that monitoring process, you can search that, and all those we'll able to see. I'm just moving it over there. Enter the username and password. is one console. It is going to be displaying about that, BPM work list or BPM workspace. Then after that, you have the other console called, what it is, work list application. BPM work list application. I need to open that also. Right. So it is logging in. So meanwhile, you can able to configure that, so BPM and configuration properties. Go to that, how you can able to navigate, expand the SOA and double click on the SOA select the SOA infrastructure, go to the SOA administration, and there you just click on the BPM properties. This property which is enabled in the SOA console, while you are configuring the domain, you have to be you will choose both SOA and as well as BPM infrastructure. Then only it is enabled, else it cannot. So what are the properties? These properties which are available here. So what is that? First one, audit level. Inherit means, I already told you, inherit means logging are same as it is, SOA infrastructure audit level only. And first one off, there is no logging performed and composite instance tracked. No, composite instance tracking and payload tracking details or information. Then minimal means generally instance tracking information is collected, but not yet, but not payload details. And production means, so this mode only generally will use in the production environment. Generally, it has only allows instance tracking information, and it is collected payload details. It is collected payload details are collected only for out data associations to asynchronous activities only. Then development mode, it allows generally both the composite instance tracking and payload tracking. So that's why it is going to be impacting a lot on the performance. That is the reason we always go with the production. Otherwise, whatever we have chosen at the SOA infrastructure level, that only it has going to be inherited. And edit trial threshold, generally the maximum size and edit trial details, store before it has going to be stored into the separately from the audit trial. And this is what maximum document, large document threshold, the maximum size, generally BPM and variable, it has going to be stored before it has going to be stored into the separate location. And by default, it is generally not zero, so it is more than that. You can, these are the default values, depends on the requirement you can able to tune. And dispatcher engine threads, I already told you, which is used for housekeeping purpose or something like that, synchronous or housekeeping purpose, so what are the BPM activities it is going to be doing by cleaning all the tasks, generally it is going to be improving the performance system threads actually. Coming to the dispatcher invoker threads, generally which are used to processing the request or which are used to managing the synchronous request actually, synchronous request only. Right, dispatcher invoke engine threads generally which is used to process the asynchronous request only. And payload validation, generally these are the default values, depends on the requirement you can able to change it. And then so payload validation by default, which is disabled, you can enable it for validating the incoming and outgoing generally messages in the service engine. And the sensors also by default, which is enabled. Firstly, if you want, you can disable it, depends on the requirement. And these are the properties you can able to change and click on apply button, depends on the requirement. So then after that, what I have to do? So I told you already while we are discussing about that BPL also. So whenever you change the system related or thread related properties, which is going to be improving that performance. Example: dispatcher invoke system threads, invoke threads, and engine threads. So dispatcher system threads generally which is used for housekeeping purpose. Generally, what are the process it is going to be done by using the BPM engine? It is going to be cleaning actually. For that, which requires which we had by default two threads, and dispatcher invoke threads generally which is used to manage the synchronous, right, asynchronous invocations or asynchronous processing the request, and the second one synchronous and payload validation. Then click on the more BPM and configuration properties generally. So it is going to be displaying the same properties only with some additional details generally. There you cannot get any pop-ups here. Everything, if it is read right, you can remove and enter the required data and click on apply button. So in this way you can able to change or configure the properties under this BPMN component. So then after that, let's we see, I'm just moving into that worklist application. Yesterday we have seen generally how you can able to set the priority and which task is execute first and which task is execute next. In the BPM worklist application generally, you have the following tabs actually: administration, reports, preferences, and logout, and which you by using which user you logged in actually. So home, in the home generally what will happen? Initiate the task and do the administration tasks actually. How to initiate the task? You click on that to initiate the task and you can initiate the task and administrative tasks generally. If you're clicking on that, it is going to be displaying the following tabs actually. I clicked on here. So you just create administrative tasks, right? To whom you want to assign, generally what are the actions, right? You have to be defined here. Define and display those details generally. See here what are the actions generally which are available. Create a to do a task. We are going to be creating a task and which is already there. Some tasks you can able to search here. There is no task which are available. Assigned to whom? Assigned or this task is assigned or completed or suspended, withdrawn, expired, and error, altered information is required. So it depends on that. This is what generally task status generally. So whether it is assigned or completed. So what are the task status which are available in the BPM worklist application? It's a very important one. You can go through it. And this way you can able to monitor about the administration tasks. You can design the task and you can manage and you can set the priority also. Then this is about normally on home. Then if you're clicking on the administration, it is going to be get the following tabs actually again. So you can define the evidence search and as well as the approval groups and as well as the task configurations. All three generally which you can able to configure and depends on the application preference. And so click on this one. See here all attributes, and you can able to manage like this and click on create button. You can able to create the text file and similarly like that you can create the flex fields in the sense how the application is required generally, how you are going to be configuring the fields generally. In the sense example attribute tables. You can create the additional text fields table whenever it required. So it map these task attributes generally. The labels will be displayed to the end users. Whenever it required, you can design here. These labels generally which is displayed to the end user side. Then even this is what protected flex fields. Generally by using this generally same processes you can able to do, but it should be a user-friendly terms, for the task attributes. Generally these are what are the tasks, what are the terms actually, terms for the task attributes. So this is about generally application preferences and as well as flex field mapping. Then these fields generally which is going to be displaying on the end user side. Click on the evidence search. You can create that evidence for all or any for matching generally. Then approval groups, you can create some group for approving generally. Yesterday we have seen generally SOA group which I have created. Similarly, you can create the different groups depends on the requirement, either it may be static approval or dynamic approval. Static approval means it does not require any logic execution. So statically it is going to be execute that group and create a dynamic approval means it depends on the requirement, it is going to be enable it, which dynamically it is going to be approving it. Then click on the task configuration generally. So here you may have that approval human task, two applications which I already deployed into this, and you can monitor and you can edit and as well as administrate, depends on the requirement. And preferences means it is going to be changing the default behavior of the BPM worklist application. This is about that BPM worklist application, and in this you will get two questions: task status and as well as to whom you are going to be assigned. For that you have to be create the users and groups. Yesterday you have seen, and how to create it and how to manage it. This is generally very important one. How to create the task, how to set the priority, and what are the task statuses which are available. Then after that, how you can able to configure how you can able to edit optionally tasks and rules. Then really, how you can configure the UMS in the BPA UMS user messaging service in the BPM worklist application. All these you can able to do in the BPM worklist application. Coming to the here BPM business process composer. This is another console which is available for the BPM suite. So what we can able to do in this generally, all these so what you have to do, you just click on this all projects. So create a new project. Generally, whenever you want to create a new project, the name, description, folder, where it is actually, browse that one, new project, repositories. It's there. Okay. So that exactly whatever which is there won't we need to be select. Just wait. Name. So depends on the requirement, you can create the project and all these generally you can able to create under the BPM component. So business analyst will work with this application generally. Okay. They are going to be creating. See, one project which I created generally what it is actually a project. So see here, you have to be oh God. So you have to be see here generally rules, human workflow, web forms, no approval is workflow, generate the events and interaction, your editing, everything you can able to edit like organization, gallery, activity and business objects. Generally this will do by us generally. After that click on the save button. So it is going to be save all the details and stimulate and validate it depends on the requirement. So in that way you can able to create one project and close one project and depends on the requirement and depends on requirement you can able to modify the BPM and Composer application. Generally click on the administration tab. You will able to get all these administration tab. Project management. So just now I have created two projects I have created. If you want you can delete. So I'm just deleting that one project. Select the project and delete it. And the template management and player administration and all those generally which we can able to do under this administration. But as an administrator, what we need to do, role mapping we can able to see. So what kind of roles we are going to be here for project manager generally. You need to be select and you will show a designer also. You need to be select. So what designer generally what is it? Administrator. If you want, you can change depends on the requirement in the EM console. And same thing it has going to be reflected to here also. And project management, see, whenever the project which is created by the business analyst, then we are going to be managing those projects and player administration, everything which you can able to do. So which you can able to work like this with this BPM worklist, BPM process composer generally. You can create, you can manage, and you can administrate the component in this BPM process composer. So I'm just clicking logging out, and in this way you can able to work with the BPM consoles. Like one is BPM composer, second one is BPM worklist application. After that, assume like that you deployed application to the EM console. Generally, how you can able to monitor. So go to here. So EM console. Generally, double click on it. So infra. See, recently deployed application. It is available under this recently composite tabs. Otherwise, I want to monitor only that specific BPM instance or BPM components only. So go to that service administration, click on the BPM service engine only. Otherwise, I need to be go through this like service engines for monitoring request passing and all those instead of configuring that service engine BPMN. See, dashboards and deployed application recent instances. And if you're clicking on the statistics, generally it is going to be displaying the following information, like what are the pending requests and activate requests, and what are the thread statistics, and all those information generally it is going to be displaying. And based on this, generally which you can able to monitor and manage that BPM and components. Click on the instance, and you can search based on the instance ID. So all the components which are available right in the SOA BPM, and you can search directly. You will get that only faults. If you get any faults which are displaying under this, based on the fault, you can able to do the recovery. Either it may be retry or recovery. Deployed composites means what are the composites which are deployed to the this BPM and service engine, and you can search based on that name. And recovery means whenever you get any failure, depends on the recovery which is depends on the fault generally which you can able to recovery. See, the faults which is generated last 5 minutes, all times, like this, all you will be able to get. Depends on that, duration, you can able to select and click on search button. Otherwise, refers alarm table, then it is going to be displaying those issues only. So in this way, we can monitor and administrate after completing that, BPM work list or BPM properties configuration. Then you can search instances and like this. Right, in this way, you can able to monitor and manage with that, BPMN. Clear? So then after completing this, I'm just moving to that small one called B2B, in the sense business to business. So what is the business to business generally? So as part of that, why you are using the B2B, in the sense, why we require the B2B, and how you can able to manage and administrate with B2B generally, right? So let's we see, B2B is nothing but what, business to business generally. What are the components which was there in the B2B, then why you are using this B2B generally? See, example I will take. You are the manufacturer and somebody is the wholesaler generally. So whenever I want to, over the network, I'm connecting you on me, right? Or who will wholesaler and the distributors. How two trusted parties, they can send, they can exchange that, data or information in between them over the network without any problem. In the sense, so B2B is nothing but it is a process where the commercial transactions are being exchanged between the two processes. Example, wholesaler and as well as distributors. So they can call trading partners. So how they are going to be exchanging the data in between them over the network without any trouble, safely and securely, how you are going to be sending and receiving that. Then generally, it is an integration process which is going to be involved. What it is going to be doing, main purpose, how it is going to be sending and receiving the data over the network generally, right? So between the two trusted parties, in other words, between the two trading partners. Two trading partners are two trusted parties. And which requires trading partners to develop the following standards generally, right? Industry tampered messaging service, all those generally. So what is the main B2B? B2B, which is generally, uh, enables secure and, reliable exchange of the messages between the two trusted parties, otherwise, between the two processes. How it is going to be safely, securely can send and receiving the messages in between the, two trusted parties, like example, wholesaler and as well as the manufacturer. Then other one generally in between the two processes, that it would be possible by using the B2B. So B2B generally, what are the components which are available in the B2B? Very important entry question. Example and B2B concepts. The first one, document. See, example, whenever you're communicating with, uh, with a wholesaler, generally you are going to be asking, sorry, distributor, wholesaler is going to be asking, what is an item generally? So document, in the document, what item which is required. So generally, then that you can able to ship by using over the cell phone also. Then in the sense, e-commerce transaction, what you can able to do, you'll get, document protocol, and as well as using any one of the courier or using that any one of that, any one of the e-commerce transaction use, and you can send that. And packing means once you order some item generally, over the phone you can order the item, and otherwise you can able to get by using these e-commerce transactions. And packing means how the items are going to be packing by using the bubble wrap or using any one of the method. And once it is packing, generally by using these protocols you can able to receive some messages generally. Transport means how the item generally sent to the, or sent or received generally, maybe it is a truck or ship or plane. Depends on the requirements. Once it is delivered, generally it has going to be again, starts sending that your item has going to be dispatched, something like that. Messaging system. So who is the courier generally? Either it may be DHL and FedEx and UPS and UPSS. So depends on the USPS, depends on the requirement. Generally, you can able to ship through those handily, and immediately you'll get the message. And profile means what are the trading partner capabilities. See example, I want to know about the distributor capabilities and what it is. His profile I want to design. I mean his profile I want to store in my, you know, in my in my I want to know about the complete profile about that trading partners generally, right? Who are the senders, who are the receivers and capabilities, that all is information, like including the addresses and everything, so that I can able to create the profile. In the sense, trading partner profile I can create. And agreements means while you are starting, the business in between the wholesaler and manufacturer, there are some agreements, right? And what did we agree generally, what are those agreements, and in between the trading partner agreements generally, that you can able to manage all these generally information which you can able to communicate over the network only. So while you are connecting to over the network, so safely and securely you can exchange reliable messaging in between the two trusted parties, or two businesses. That's what generally main purpose of the B2B, right? Main purpose of the B2B. Oracle B2B, which enables secure, reliable exchange of the messages in between the enterprises and its trading partners. By using this, generally what we can able to do, document management. By using the B2B, we have seen here document management, and transport and exchange management, trading partner management, reports and monitoring, and system management. All these generally which you can able to, these B2B which is going to be enabled to those features generally. Then after that, generally, so what we can able to do in the B2B console generally. B2B, which we may have the separate console called, for monitoring, administrating, and configuring the properties generally. So in that, generally, you can define trading partner type, trading partner profile, and defining the trading partner users, adding the documents specific to the trading partners, and configuring the message delivery channels. By using which channel you are delivering the messages generally, right? Messaging generally, defining the agreements, trading partner agreements, all these generally which you can able to define from the you know B2B console. And once you have done successfully everything, whenever you want to move, generally you can move by using the export and import options in the SOA server instances. Then what is the B2B architecture and its components generally? B2B, which you can able to use for every component in the SOA server, SOA suite. See here, which you can able to use. And events, so depends on the event is nothing but message generally, which you can able to send messages, depends on the requirement. So what are the channels it is going to be using generally here for processing? JMS or any other process, like GDB, that other which are available. So depends on the requirement which you can able to select, and send and receiving the messages reliably over the network, so without between the two trusted parties, example enterprise and trading partners. And these also which you can able to develop as part of the SCA, in the sense, as part of the SCA means you can deploy and integrate with the SOA components, and otherwise you can design and monitor individual component also. Then once you deploy, you can able to monitor under the EM console and manage and administrate it. Let's we see, we can discuss about the B2B administration tools generally. What are the B2B administration tools which are available here? There are two generally. One is B2B console, and the second one is the Fusion Middleware under the EM console, and last one WebLogic Server Admin Console. So these are the three tools which you can able to manage and administrate and configuring about the B2B. So generally, what are those? First one, B2B console. Second one, EM console. Anyhow, we will able to that part. Okay, we'll able to see that part. And WebLogic Server Admin Console. These are the three ways generally which you can able to administrate the B2B console. Then what are the tasks generally which you can able to do in the B2B console? Actually, very important into your question. Can you list what are the tasks generally which you can able to configure in the B2B? Like monitoring, deploying agreements about the deployment states, and creating the partner type, and as well as identify types, contacts, import and exporting the Oracle B2B data, whenever you want to migrating from one target environment to other target environment, defining the system parameters, defining the host channels, and defining the Java call outsmiths, custom message sending and receiving you can define, and scheduling and managing the batching, in the sense in particular time how many invoices you want to send. You already execute that, you already set in the batch, depends on the requirement, automatically it is going to be delivered that invoice. And these tasks generally can be done by the administrator only. Whatever I have discussed here, all these tasks generally which is executed and managed and administered by using the administrator or B2B designer. Most of the cases will do by the administrator only. Right. So how we can able to do? So what is the overview of the B2B implementation steps generally? Create document lines one by one actually. In this process you have to be follow while you are working with the B2B console and create document definition, trading partner profile, and create the agreements. Then after that, once you have done all these generally, what we need to do? So we need to be, create the composite with B2B binding components, as in the sense service or reference within the SOA composite, or it is going to be used to the external system also. Then set B2B binding component properties and deploy these components to deploy the composite application. These are the steps actually, implementation of the B2B. Then after that, how you can able to access the B2B console and what are the tabs which are available in the B2B console. This is again interview question generally. In the B2B console, you can able to access like in this way. So host name, colon port number in this sense, SOA server, SOA admin server port number, then B2B console. So for that only you can able to go to the admin console, you'll able to see. And what are the tabs which are available? Administration, partners, reports, and metrics. All those four tabs generally which you can able to use to configure it one by one. Right? So first B2B deployment concepts, able to see over there. Then after that agreements, how you can able to make the agreement, search for the deployments, agreements, and as well as deploy the agreements. Right? So which are going to be design time repository to the runtime repository. What we can able to do deploying that B2B components generally, we are processing of activating and agreement from the design time to and runtime repository. In the sense, design time repository to the runtime repository. In the sense, those are in use actually. Managing deployments generally, what are the states generally which you can able to, what are the deployment state of an agreement can be set to that activate, inactivate, retired, and purged. Purged means you can delete from the B2B repository. So all these processes generally, validating and activating a set of, runtime data that is going to be used to runtime transactions. Identifier type means generally there are following type of identifiers which are available, like we can define identifiers and contact information and trading partner types in the sense which are used to define and maintain the related partner information. Identifier is nothing but what, define and maintaining the partner information. And import and export data means generally in Oracle B2B design. So all the B2B information generally depends on the requirement you can import and depends on the requirement you can export. So in that generally we have that two tabs called again partners and administration. So it is going to be listing the channels for sending and receiving the messages, reliably in between the enterprise and as well as trading partners, right? For that which requires some channel, right? What are the channels which are available? All these are the channels generally. Generic file, AQ, FTP, SFTP, JMS, and email. So it depends on the requirement. You can able to choose the channel, and so how we are going to be how the Oracle B2B or a backend business application to send outbound messages to the Oracle B2B by using these listing channels, by selecting these channels which you can able to get. Then configuring the B2B system parameters, like which are accessible to the B2B interface only. Purging means you can design what are the data at the design time we have designed generally, which is not required at that moment. You have to be purged in the sense you have to be deleted. This you can able to do using from that console mode and then as well as command line mode also. So purging is generally which is useful how you're going to be managing the disk space and improving the performance. And generally by removing the some unwanted repositories generally from the test system, you're improving the performance also. Right. So let's we see all those tabs. I'm just going into that. B2B console and need to be open. And you can deploy and monitor later. Click on the deployments. Expand it. B2B UI. Click on testing, expand it. Right. Enter the username. For every console, you have to enter the administrator username and password only. And click on login. Right. So it is logged in. See here, generally, so here generally we are going to be talking about the one company to other company. In the sense, at business level, when you talk about it, one company to other company, it is not like that, one user to other user, one company to other company. So generally, you have the following tabs: generally, administration, partners, reports, and as well as metrics. So the first one, generally, we are going to be creating that, trading partner profile. So this is what generally click on, place. You can provide the partner name, my or so partner. So click on create. Instead of my company, I have created my own partner. See, click on OK. I have created, and what are the agreements? I didn't make any agreements. Click on plus and you can make the agreement. Depends on the requirement you can make. So the agreements generally which is in between the company and as well as the SOA partner, this is trading partner. Select the document definition generally here. You can define that agreements generally, So what are the agreements you are going to be making, and click on the save button. What is agreement ID, name and description, and the start date, end date, agreements generally in between the company and so on, partner. In other words, partner. So what type of channels you need to be used while you are configuring that will label later. In this way, you can able to define that define the partner and as well as define the agreements, and click on that advanced. Here are there. Generally, it is going to be displaying about the advanced options and about the partner name, identification value, type, and protocol version, document type generally, and the document definition, and click on save button once you have explained about all those things. And even for configuring that advanced agreements only, if you click on the advanced, it is going to be displaying the more options. Then in this way, you can able to configure the company or partner generally agreements, and click on the administration generally. So wait. I just going back again. So here, after creating the profile and as well as the agreements, generally in the sense company partner type, and click on the users generally. So so you can add multiple users to the each trading partner and assign to a rule of each user. Depends on the requirement, and click on save button. What are the document type names and everything, and click on the documents generally. So add the documents to the specific or to this trading partner only. All the documents that creates are available to add trading partner profiles only. And click on channels. Generally, what are the channels you have chosen for sending and as well as delivering the messages generally. Click on plus and company name. You can select the server partner here and select the template actually. In the sense, channels to send actually, or deliver the messages to that particular partner. Then here you can able to see that protocol and channel attributes and exchange the protocol properties. All those generally which you can able to define depends on the requirement. So then once I have done all these part with the partner, then on agreements, I'm just clicking on the administration tab. So it is going to be displaying the following tabs. See the first one, export import. B2B generally, which is used to at the design time generally it can be exported and saved to the zip file generally. This can be imported back into the Oracle B2B on the data is available in the B2B interface. Automatically it is going to be import and export from one target environment to other target environment, which is already there. If you want, you can replace with existing metadata, you can replace it. This is what import actually from target environment to other target environment, you can import here. Export means you can export the B2B repository to the zip file generally, select and active agreements and export it. Then search the agreements under document types, depends on the requirement. And click on import and export, depends on the requirement. And click on the document. See what type of document protocols here which have actually, AHCL, GDI, custom, all these are the document protocols simply which are available, and select it and click on create button. And you can create the documents. So custom documents depends on the requirement, a new version, and click on save button. So it is going to be creating the documents. Then after completing that, manage the deployments generally, how you can able to manage the deployments. Okay, click on the manage deployments. You can search actually what kind of management deployment you can able to see here, the state of the deployment, active, inactive, retired, and as well as purge. So search for the deployments actually which is already deployed, and what is the state generally here, all these states. And click on advanced, you can monitor actually, you can search and deploy it again, and click on save, it has going to be saves. Search button by default, it has going to be displaying for managing the deployments in the B2B console. Click on the types generally, what are the types was there. So types means these are all the identified types. In the sense, identified types, uniquely identifying a trading partner and define how to exchange the documents. Here you can able to define how to exchange the documents. And batch, you can settle some batch actually here. You know, often used to group messages by document type. Example, what I have to do. You can schedule a batch for sending the 10 or 15 customers invoice at the same time generally, so that you can able to schedule like that. Then after you sending that, it is going to be displaying for monitoring purpose here only. Then click on the downtime. Generally, schedule the downtime whenever you want to, configuring that batch, schedule the downtime, and to ensure that messages are not delivered during the scheduled downtime period. And you have to be processed B2B, such as messages are ready. Then you can search here and you can monitor like this. And callout means custom, which are used to environment in which a host trading partner application does not use the same message. In that case, we go with the custom. Maps it also similarly like that. We view the existing or creating the map set with a valid EMS map file and click on the WSDL. So view the existing or create a new WSDL. Here by clicking on the click on plus, you can create the new visual WSDL for this only, B2B. And purge means I already told you, you can delete actually. You can delete some mystery actually. You can purge the metadata at design time and you can purge the data at runtime. Then listing channels, and what are the channels generally which you can able to use for sending or delivering the messages in B2B. And configurations, click on the configuration. See here, once you have sent the message, you will able to get the acknowledgement by configuring this. Then after that miscellaneous, you will get this one. And miscellaneous continued generally, non-purgeable and preferable and UI. All this information which you can able to change according to the requirement and manage it. Then click on the partners now. You can even think about the partners only. So we have seen this part first only, how you can able to create the partner and as well as agreements and all those. And click on reports. So what it will do in the reports generally, it is going to be launching. Alright. In the report generally what it is going to be, how many messages which is going to be delivered, how many it has not delivered. But then everything which is going to be displaying, like write while message and application messages. If you get any error, it is going to be displaying under the error tab, and conversion. Right? Conversion is going to be displaying. Everything you can monitor about that, sending or receiving delivers messages successfully or not, you can manage from this B2B. So then after that, click on the report, click on the metrics generally. You can see that performance using these metrics also. See how many messages and errors and message counts, and what are the inbound outbound messages, average time, how much it is going to be taking. Then for outbound, inbound agent, how much time taking. That everything you can able to plan here, and add to trading partners who are there, and errors if you get any error. Everything which you can able to monitor, like number of active partners, number of active agreements, and number of active document types. All those generally which are going to be observed at runtime, generally for completed, processed, or errors. All these are the errors which you can able to get while you are working with messages and errors. And help means help will get, and logout means you can log out from the trading partner. So this is how you're going to be managing and administrating the BPM B2B console, B2B component, and how you can able to deploy and manage the B2B consoles to the B2B applications to the EM console. Right. So deployment, deploy. Right, it is loading still. Browse. Select this composite application. Click on next. And select the partition and click on next. Click on deploy. Still it is deploying. Right, which deployed successfully. Then click on this test and see you can monitor about all these things, like how you're going to become control the composite application after you deployed. So what it is actually, see customer ID and order ID. Click on test web service. Right. So you'll get the response. Now I'm giving the request. Right, you got the response actually. See which was sent actually, you got the response. This is how we're going to be deploying and testing. So then after that, how you can able to monitor generally administrate, go to here, go to the SOA infrastructure. And so here B2B, business to business. You can configure like this, so bindings generally, so is not bindings actually, B2B, business to business, right? So in this way, you can able to, monitor about the business events generally, if you go down here, so still it is loading and processing. Still it is loading. Right. So expand the SOA. Right. Go to the SOA administration. See here, go to the business events. Click on the business events. No, it is not business. We'll see next business events. We are discussing about the B2B only. So click on the B2B here. How you are going to be get that? Here you can able to monitor after you deployed actually. Number of messages processed and average message processing time and average message size, both inbound and outbound. What are the errors which you get? And what are the active document types? And what are the active trading partner types? There also you can monitor. From here also you can monitor. And recently active agreements for both inbound and outbound. What are the inbound points and outbound points? See, which you got one actually inbound AQ data source, which I have created, right? One channel actually. So that you have got actually. There is outbound interfaces here. You can able to monitor whatever you deploy business events or sorry business B2B business, so those you can able to monitor under the EM console and administrate it whenever you get any funds for both active document types and as well as the active trading partners types and active agreements for both inbound and outbound endpoints. So in this way you can able to monitor and manage the B2B in the sense service infrastructure. Then like this B2B metrics, we have seen all those. And go to the bindings. Just now I have seen how you can able to monitor it. So what are the diagnostic steps generally? First you can define type of the error, occurrence of the error, message flow, and examine the error report. In this fashion you can able to troubleshoot it. Very important into the question, what are the issues generally did you face while you are working with the B2B? First one, connection. You can check about the transport error, in the sense outbound delivery channels partner not up. Document identification, in the sense so document protocol identification error, maybe inbound or outbound. You can check it in both places. Document validation, general validation for inbound and outbound. Agreement identification, trading partner agreement not found to the given input values that you have to be check about here, and otherwise you can select there is no agreement for the partner and document combination. So these are the some error types. These are some error messages, some possible causes actually. Then this is about about the B2B generally, business to business. How you are going to be sending or how you are going to be enabling the reliable and as well as secure messaging, message delivering in between the enterprise and as well as the trading partners. And a very small one called the business events generally. So business events. Event name itself contained is a business generally. How you are going to be subscribing and publishing the messages or in other words, events. How we are going to be publishing and as well as subscribing the events. Event is nothing but a message structure, so that represents the occurrence of the business event that must be communicated to another application. This event generally which is going to be communicated with other application. So what is a business event generally? That is normal definition of the event. Business event is nothing but what it has going to be define the occurrence and structure of an event whenever it occurs. Generally, in the sense when it has going to be occurs, it has going to be explained. So these business events generally fire and forget. Generally fire and forget interaction. There is no way to expand. There is no way to expect the response. Only fire and forget. And which uses the EDN generally, event delivery network concept generally inbuilt actually after WebLogic 11G onwards. So it supports processing. It is not like a messaging structure. It is like events generally. Once it is going to be delivering and fire and forget. And what are the it has providing the generally way how you're going to be publishing and subscribing the messages generally, or in other words events, and how you're going to be implemented. So generally these events which are going to be defined by using the EDN, event definition language. EDL means event definition language format. And you can see based on these are the capabilities offers subscription generally. Then how the event delivery network works with business events generally, see here. So in event delivery networks, it has going to be distributing the events within EM console or within SOA. Events are created when business event occurs and defined in the EDL, event delivery or event definition language, not event delivery. Let's see, whenever the clients make any request, it is going to be publishing the messages by using this mediator component. You can publish those messages. Sometimes you can able to subscribe and using the specific channel called any one of the channel, maybe JMS or to the service infrastructure. By using the mediating service, you can subscribe to the different services actually. Then let's we see there are some sample applications generally which is designed and developed by using the developer for subscribing the business events generally, managing the event EDN delivery network in the enterprise in the EM console. Further, go to the business events generally and click on the business events. You can monitor for both service and as well as references. Service means within the infrastructure we are going to be publishing and as well as subscribing the messages, and even for same for the external applications generally. And it can be accessed from the SOA infra folder or SOA infrastructure menu. And go to here, you'll be able to see like here. So subscribes, it could be two types generally. It may be a database based or some file based generally. Database based. So what you have to do, select the event to test and click on it generally to test the events generally. So I told you right here, subscription type, there are two types. There are three types generally. Component subscription and database subscription, and by default both actually, which you can able to choose. And you can click on the subscription tab. You can configure the different type of subscriptions and subscription properties and database agent actually to the events. You can configure and view the event files. You will get any files you can able to view over there in the file tab, and fix it depends on the requirement. Let's we see how we can able to do and how we can able to manage and administrate those. Go to here, EM console. It's a very small one which is used to that purpose only. How you're going to be enabling or publishing and subscribing the messages actually, in between SOA infrastructure are connected to the SOA external application. So I'm just deploying some business events application. Browse, go to the business events, sample application, business events. I'm selecting the business event application. Click on next. And just select the partition here. Click on next. I want to click on deploy. Right. So click on this actually after deploying the business events, click on text. So you can provide all these generally. You can test it business events. I told you already, these are fire and forget only. No need to expect any. Click on test web service. Then after that, how you can able to monitor actually? Go to the SOA infrastructure, and you got the response here. And click on the SOA infrastructure. Go to the SOA infrastructure here. Bindings, B2B, not bindings. Business events. Click on the business events. See, the first one, event is nothing but what, consistent of messages dates sent as the result of the occurrence in the business environment. And there are two types of business events which are available. One is subscriptions and second one is false. Click on the subscription generally. Before that, you will able to see you already deployed, and subscriptions test and show the definitions. There are two which we got, the two subscriptions, right? One is order event generally, which you got two times, which you have right actually. And let's see subscriptions. Click on it. So what is the subscription type? Here we have three types generally: database subscription and as well as component subscription. And by default it both actually, which selects and event namespace, and which we have already, whenever you deploy it, you will get the event namespace, and you can select what is the name of that event and provide the subscriber and the composite level, immediate or one and only one, and guaranteed. Depends on the requirement you can choose, and click on the search button. So you'll be able to get if it is available. Then database subscription, how you can able to configure, click on plus here. Then you can configure the event name, namespace and event name and agent name and agent, and subscription properties you can configure and click on subscribe. And component, whatever we develop, that is called component only, right? Component subscription, whatever we have seen, that is called component subscription only. So in this way you can configure about the subscriptions, and click on the false, and you can monitor about the false generally by clicking on the fault tab and type the fault ID, and you will get the some false, and you can manage depends on the fault types. And even you can able to search depend on the subscription type also, subscription type also. So this is how generally you can able to manage and monitor and administrate about the business events. Right. So after completing these business events, generally I'm just moving into the new topic called BAM. So I'm stopping here. So BAM, business activity monitoring, and MDS. How you are going to be maintaining the runtime information about the SOA infrastructure by configuring the metadata service. Very important interview question. So what is the MDS, and as well as what are the schemas generally which you can able to create while you are installing the SOA source, how you can able to manage, purge, and all those we'll able to see tomorrow. And the security part also. Tomorrow we'll see this only. Clear?
Yes.
So I will send those yesterday's recording, yesterday's one and today's one. I didn't send yesterday, right? I'll send yesterday's and today's recording to you people today, okay? Right. So thank you. Bye.